Welcome to the Membership Guys podcast. Kick-ass advice and tips for membership site owners.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 258 of the Membership Guys podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison, one half of the Membership Guys, and you are listening to the #1 show for proven practical tips and advice on growing a successful membership business delivered directly into your ears each and every week. If you have just discovered the show, if you're a new listener, first of all, welcome. What took you so long? Make sure you hit the subscribe button in your podcast app to ensure that you do not miss a single weekly episode. Your membership business will thank you for it. If you've been listening for a while, you're a long-term listener, you know I love you, you know I appreciate your support, and I appreciate you tuning in each and every week to the show. Today, I'm talking all about email automation, specifically 4 essential email automations that every single membership website needs. Email automation can massively power up your membership site marketing and operations, enabling you to trigger various different actions and email sequences according to how your leads and your members behave. Now, email marketing automation is a feature of some of the more advanced marketing automation software such as ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, Ontraport, and Infusionsoft. But not all email marketing services actually have automation built in. Some of the older companies like Aweber and MailChimp, they're starting to bring in more and more automation features. They're not yet quite up to the standard of the platforms that I mentioned earlier, but they are getting there. However, if you want to really tap into the power of marketing automation, you need to be using a platform like ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, Ontraport, and so on. So if you have taken the step into using more advanced email marketing platforms like the ones I've just mentioned, and you're all set for utilizing marketing automation in your membership business, then here are the 4 essential automation sequences that will really help to level up both the marketing and the sales of your membership, as well as to help with member retention too. So the first essential automation that you need is an automation to salvage your lost sales. If someone visits the checkout page of your membership site, then by doing so, they are showing a clear buying signal. However, if that person then does not go on to complete the transaction, this might mean that there's a question or an issue which needs to be addressed, an objection to overcome, an obstacle that has stopped them from joining. Or maybe they were about to sign up, but then they got distracted. They realized they didn't have their payment details, their credit card with them. Maybe they got a phone call or a Twitter notification that took them away from your site, and then they totally forgot about it and never came back to actually complete registration. Whatever the case, it is definitely worth following up with these people. And fortunately, this is something that you can set up pretty easily with your email automation service. It's simply a case of setting the conditions that trigger an automation to be started whenever someone visits your checkout page URL, but then does not go on to subsequently visit your thank you page or the confirmation page that a new member would see after they joined your site. So they've come to your sales page, they've clicked the button to join, they've gone to your checkout, but then that's where the journey ends. They haven't then seen the thank you page. Your automation software can detect that pattern, that activity, so that when someone on your mailing list meets these conditions, they've hit the checkout page, but they've not hit your thank you page, then you can trigger an automation with an email sequence that gets sent out where you might actually prompt them to come back. You can actually say, hey, we noticed you were about to sign up, but then you didn't complete registration. Ask them in these emails that get automatically sent if they have any questions, if they have any issues, if there were any problems that stopped them from registering. Maybe even try to tempt them with a little special offer or a trial. Now, you can set your automation to automatically start sending that follow-up sequence. It could be just one single email that gets sent out within hours of that person visiting your checkout. Or if you want a softer approach, you can maybe leave it a few days and then send a follow-up sequence that says, hey, we noticed that you showed some interest in joining the membership site, but you didn't follow through. Let's look at that. Let's explore any problems, any objections you might have, anything else that could be stopping you from becoming a member. Now, the big reason that I recommend the more advanced email automation platforms like ActiveCampaign and like Infusionsoft and so on, rather than the likes of MailChimp and Aweber, which do have some basic automation, is that the more advanced platforms tend to have a feature called site tracking, which will actually log which specific pages that someone visits on your site. You can then use that information to trigger those specific automations like we talked about. Entry-level email platforms tend not to have that feature, so you wouldn't be able to see whether someone's visited your checkout page and whether they've abandoned the joining process. So that is the very first automation you need in place, a follow-up sequence for abandoned checkouts that will help you to salvage lost sales. The second automation you need is one for new member onboarding. You know, they say that first impressions count, and that is definitely true for your new members in terms of their initial experiences of using your membership site. We're constantly banging the drum about the importance of new member experience and the part that it plays in retaining your members long term. If your membership has all sorts of different content, lots of different sections, loads of fancy bells and whistles and features, then it may be confusing or even overwhelming to someone who's just joined and found themselves in the middle of all of that. If someone can't figure out how to use your site, if they're overwhelmed, they don't know where to start with your content, or even worse, if they run into technical problems, then that doesn't bode well for hanging on to those members long term. There are various things that you can do on your website itself to help people get off to the right start. This is when your new member onboarding comes in, where you ease people into your site. Maybe you show them a tour video or an interactive walkthrough and so on. But you can complement these things with email automation. A short email sequence sent to new members over the first couple of weeks of them being part of your community can go a long, long way. It can really help to ease your members' transition into your site, get them off to the right start, give them a place to start, so point them towards a piece of content or a particular aspect of your site they should start with. Maybe even help them to achieve a quick win, give them some initial early results, hints and tips. These kind of things will start your relationship with these new members off on the right track, and that is crucial for increasing your chances of retaining them as a paid member for months and years to come. So your member onboarding strategy absolutely must include some form of automated email sequence that is sent to all of your new members. The third automation every membership should have is a one for member renewal reminders. Now, this one likely won't apply to you if all of your members are paying you on a monthly basis. Those members probably aren't going to appreciate you bugging them every few weeks to remind them to stick around. However, if you offer an annual membership option or a quarterly option or something with that longer commitment period, then it's a good idea to set up an automation that will automatically send out a reminder sequence prior to your members' renewal date. Even if your annual renewals are set to automatically rebill so their payment will be taken automatically, because of the length of time involved, people might have forgotten about their renewal date. And as such, they might get a nasty surprise when a big chunk of cash disappears from their bank account. Or worse, maybe they don't actually have sufficient funds in that account. So their membership ends up being cancelled. They might even get overdrawn or get charged by the bank. Those people are not going to be very happy with you. So you need member renewal reminders set up in your email automation software. You can create an automation so that when someone joins on an annual membership or quarterly or every 6 months or whatever, there's an email sequence that essentially gets scheduled to start a couple of weeks before their renewal will be due. So if they're starting on an annual plan, you'd set that sequence to start 340 days after they join your membership. So by setting it 340 days after they join, that means that 25 days, so just over 3 weeks before their renewal date, they start to get an automated series of emails to remind them that their upcoming renewal payment is coming, but also to summarize just how much has been added to your site in the time they've been a member, the value that they've had, plus more importantly, what's still to come if they continue their membership, so the benefits of sticking around. This kind of renewal campaign can go a long way in ensuring that your members stay for the long run. You can't just take for granted that the fact that someone's subscription payment will just automatically be rebilled means that if they've not cancelled, that means they're happy, that means they'll be sticking around. You want to go out of your way to ensure that when that time comes, you've given them every reason why they should remain a member, and maybe even reinvigorated their interest in actively participating in your community, getting the value out of your membership that they're seeking, and so on. So if you have a membership that deals in annual subscriptions, anything I would say down to quarterly, so annual, 6 month, or quarterly, you want to make sure you have an automation in place for member renewals. The final must-have automation that you should have is an automated campaign for winning back ex-members, people who left your membership. Members will inevitably leave your site eventually for a variety of reasons, many of which may actually be temporary reasons that are related to short-term circumstances that could change over time. Rather than assuming that anyone leaving our site, any outgoing members, are just done with us, they're over us, they're gone for good, we can actually utilize marketing automation to reach out to those people further down the road when their situation may be different and they could be more open to returning. Most membership plugins will integrate directly with your email marketing provider, and as part of that, they'll automatically put members onto a specific list when they join and then automatically unsubscribe them from that list when they leave. Alternatively, they may actually do this with tags. So if you're using a tag-based automation system, then your membership plugin might add a tag when someone's a new member, and then either remove that tag or add a different tag when they leave. So you can use the tags or you can use the unsubscribe event as a trigger for a win-back automation that you schedule to take effect 2 to 3 months after someone has left your site. So you can automatically schedule a short email campaign. I would say 2 to 3 emails at the very most, since some ex-members may actually object to you contacting them too much after they've gone. But 2 to 3 emails at the most, in which maybe you offer a returning members discount. Maybe you give people the ability to rejoin at their original rate if your price has gone up since they've left. Also, within that email sequence, you want to be telling people about what's changed or what's been added to your site recently and what's on the agenda for coming months. Even just letting people know that they are missed can go a long way. So use that short win-back sequence to let your ex-members know that you miss them, let them know what they're missing, and incentivize them to come back. It's so important to remember that someone leaving your membership doesn't have to be permanent. Many people will return, and in fact, in our own membership, membershipacademy.com, over 25% of people who leave our community ultimately return to us within 12 months. So you could be leaving a lot of money on the table and a lot of ex-members out in the cold by not following up with them later on down the road. So this is definitely an automation you want to have in place for your membership. And remember, if you're using services like ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, Drip, Ontraport, Infusionsoft, and so on, these sort of automations are relatively straightforward to set up. And in fact, if you're using ActiveCampaign and you happen to be a member of membershipacademy.com, then not only do we have a full course on how to set up these automations and a few more we've not talked about in this episode, we also have pre-made automations that you can actually import straight into your ActiveCampaign account with just the click of the button. So all of the plumbing together and all the emails and stuff are already there for you. So that saves you a whole bunch of work in setting these up yourself. Even if you're not using ActiveCampaign, then Academy members can use our email swipe files and templates that actually give you the content, the copy to use in your emails. They'll give you subject lines and a lot more. So if you're an Academy member, make sure you check out those resources. If you're not a member, then this is just another reason of the many, many, many reasons why you should come and join the community at membershipacademy.com. Now, there's all sorts of other ways that you can use email automation, marketing automation, and so on to massively level up your online membership. However, at the absolute least, every membership owner should have the 4 automations in place that we've discussed in this episode. An automation to salvage lost sales, an automation to complement new member onboarding, an automation to handle member renewals, and an automation to win back your lapsed members. If there's any of these marketing automations and campaigns that you do not yet have in place in your membership, make it a priority to get those set up today. Hopefully it's given you some clarity on ways in which you should be using automation and maybe even highlighted areas in which you are missing a trick by not having these core automations in place. That's it from me for this week. I'll be back again next week with another episode of the Membership Guys Podcast. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Membership Guys Podcast, we invite you to check out membershipacademy.com. The Membership Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a membership website. Whether you're still trying to figure out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Membership Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Membership Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. Check it out at membershipacademy.com.